pissed off at somebody, once again, like I said, we're pissed off at somebody. You're not giving me enough attention.
Right.
I'm angry because you're not giving me enough attention. That's what your spirit is saying to you. I'm pissed off at you because you're not giving me enough attention. Why do you keep doing this every day? Why do you wake up and you don't even talk to me?
Right.
You don't talk to me. You're looking at everybody else. So inside you're angry. But you're projecting that anger onto somebody else because that person has shown you yourself. Right?
Yeah.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of TTALK, where it is you plus me plus a lovely cup of invisible tea today. My bad, y'all. Forgive me. Forgot the tea. But that is okay. If you guys are new here, let me reintroduce myself. My name is Nala Asa Shakur, also known as Tyler A. Norman. I am the author of the book Love Starts Here. So if you guys haven't read, seen, heard, checked out this cover yet, heard anybody talking about it, I'll link this down below. This is my book. It takes you down just a life-changing journey of learning how to love yourself, learning the frequency of love, what love is as an energy, and how we can pour that into ourselves in several different forms and several different ways. So it's very much so a self-care, self-elevation book if you're willing to go down that journey. So yes, I'll link that down below. I'm also the owner and CEO of The All Natural, which is your one-stop holistic health shop, where we provide all your needs for a natural lifestyle. So if you guys are returning to this podcast, thank you so much. I want to shout out all the supporters, everybody who watches, listens, reposts, comment, likes, anything. On the podcast platforms, on YouTube, any type of way that you are supporting TTALK, whether you're just, tuning in, I'm super grateful and just want to give gratitude for that. Thank you for returning. Go ahead and subscribe down below, follow wherever you're viewing from. But yeah, with that being said, today I'm excited about this episode, this new episode. We're going to dive into some good conversation. And today I'm not by myself. Today I have a lovely guest with me today. So I will let him introduce himself.
Hey, what's happening? What's up, Guan? Bonjour. It's your boy. I go by Bump Jonas. I probably got a bunch of different names, but mainly I'm Bump Jonas. Man, so what do? I consider myself a wizard, a forge, a manifester. At the end of the day, I am a co-executive owner of several local businesses in the KC area. First and foremost, Thrax Pastry. My wife and I have an edible company. It is really mainly hers, but I like to be kind of in the background, playing around with stuff. We also have a podcast, Sprinkle Some Salt Media Productions. We like to do just I like to say extraordinary conversations with your average everyday people. I just like to have fun and talk shit. And then I also have an apparel company, Everyone Moves Together, or EMTs. So yes. I like to just be busy and do things and I'm pretty creative, I guess, in that sense.
Yeah.
I like to talk shit.
Just an open creative, you know, expressing how we do and just life. So yes, love that you got on your merch. Marketing, everybody. It's all about branding. But yeah, so now that we have, introduced ourselves, we're just going to go ahead and get into it. So if you guys are returning, we do a little mini meditation, which is just 3 deep breaths. So I want everyone to just go ahead and get comfortable. Go ahead and sit down, sit back. Relax the shoulders, roll the neck, unclench the jaw, close our eyes. Open our palms to be open and receiving our messages today. We're going to go ahead and take a deep breath in through the nose. Pause. Out through the mouth. Another breath in through the nose. Pause. Out through the mouth. Last deep breath, inhale through the nose. Exhale deeply through the mouth. Thank you, Mother, Father, Creator. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this space and this time that we have to seek divine wisdom, divine counseling, and receive the messages that we need for today's period. I set the intention that both of us and all who are watching and listening to this podcast receive whatever guidance, whatever clarity, inner over and understanding, whatever affirmations, whatever advice that we need from the divine, from the Most High, whatever conversation, whatever words that we need to hear today that spark something in us, that helps us to navigate or to solve or to just be present with the situations that we have going on in our lives currently. I pray that this message finds whoever it needs to. I pray that it gives healing. I pray that it gives love into, all those watching and listening. So I set that intention and just give gratitude ahead of time for the healing that is happening. Thank you, God. All right.
That was awesome.
I
love that.
Let's get into a message today.
Tarot.
Yes.
What's the proper way to say tarot? Like, is it tarot, tarot?
Yeah, I think it's just tarot.
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 Right.
That's the only ever way I've heard it being said before. Definitely not tarot. Definitely tarot. But so I'm gonna pick a card, but I kind of have like something I want to get into already. Okay, so we have anger. I kind of want to have something I want to get into already. Anger, trust. Interesting. So I do want to talk about something that has been coming up for me in my life lately, a realization that I have had recently, which just has been anytime we are experiencing lack in our reality, any form of lack, whether that is lack of finances, lack of attention, lack of affection, lack of motivation, lack of any sort, is a reflection of us not pouring into ourselves enough in that area. So if that makes sense. So when we experience lack of attention in the external world, say we're in a mode like, I just feel like the people who love me, my friends, my partner, my family, nobody is, acknowledging me. Nobody is giving me the attention. Nobody is taking time to see how my day went. Nobody is, nobody's giving me attention. That is always a cue. Lack of anything. So lack of attention in this case. It's always a cue to go back within and say, okay, if I'm experiencing this in my outer world and I feel like other people aren't giving me enough attention, it simply means that I am not giving myself enough attention. And that is why it's reflecting in the outer world.
Because we project.
Exactly. We project. And everything that literally our external world, our realities are just a reflection of the inside. So whatever way that we treat ourselves is how life is going to treat us.
Okay.
Wow, that's a good quote.
You can write that down.
However we treat ourselves is how life is going to treat us, because it's literally only a reflection. What we do for self is what is going to manifest on the outside.
So, and I apologize if you had a track, but you just brought up a question, right? So like when it comes, like attention, right? That's a word that I hear a lot. And what I hear you saying is like if you find yourself seeking attention, look inward to figure out why you're. Well, I guess my question is, how do you handle when in this day and age it kind of feels like seeking attention is a bad thing? Does that make sense? Like how do you navigate that?
Well, seeking, it's not a bad thing.
Okay.
Nothing is bad or good. Anything that we are seeking, trying to get in the external world is just us trying to meet our own needs. So nothing is really bad. However, seeking attention, once again, once we're seeking things from the external world, it's going to be a never-ending cycle. If you're seeking attention and you're getting it from this one person, once that person stops, you're going to need to get it from the next. You're going to need to go on and on and on to the next person, the next thing, to continuously fill up something that is inside. Where the root of the issue, the lack of attention, is actually in the inside.
Right.
So seeking attention, I guess it's perceived as bad because it's not doesn't really do anything for you. It's a gap filler. It's a Band-Aid. It's a temporary hold on what's really the issue. You know? And it really seeking attention, you're not paying enough attention to yourself. You're not, and it's hard to, people are like, what does that mean I'm not paying enough attention to myself?
Right.
It's like, okay, well, an example. Do you wake up in the morning and get straight to your phone, or do you actually sit with yourself? Do you sit with your own thoughts? Do you think about, how do I feel right now? What am I thinking about right now? What's going through my head? What am I doing today? Are you pouring into yourself first thing you wake up? Or are you immediately outside world? What's going on out here? What are other people saying? What are these people doing? What is this, and this? Or are you actually paying attention to yourself? You know?
What does that look like, paying attention to yourself?
Paying attention to yourself looks like just being aware of self. Being able to be quiet enough, not distracting yourself so much to where you can't even hear what's going on. So not paying attention to yourself would be, to me, an example. Waking up, you know, you get straight to your phone, you're looking at everybody else, what everybody else is doing. You put on what you're told, where you gotta go to your job, you're putting on those clothes. Get in the car, you immediately turn the radio on, hear what everybody else has to say. Go to work, you're talking, you're consulting, whatever you're doing at your job. You come home, you take care of your kids, you're putting your attention all on your kids, you're making dinner, you're doing this, and this. Go to bed, you get back on your phone, and you go to sleep. What point of the day did you tend to self? So not paying attention to self is literally not making any action toward sitting with yourself.
Right.
Like, I believe that every day we should have time where we sit with ourselves, where we really pay attention to, what am I feeling? What am I thinking? How does my body feel? What pains and aches, or what's going through me right now? You know? Spiritually, how am I aligned right now? So I think that just not paying attention to yourself is just not sitting with yourself.
I never thought of it like that.
Yeah, trying to distract yourself with outside, you know, things all the time, to where you don't even have to, where you don't even have time.
Because even when you're alone, we still get our phones or find a video game or read. We're always doing something externally from ourselves.
Exactly.
Oh,
Or if you really want to talk about, let's get into some juicy information. Let's get into some juicy tea, which is maybe a little bit, not really sensitive, but people don't want to talk about it, including me, because I am in denial, okay? I'm not going to say an addict, but I'm in denial. So let's talk about smoking weed. So, you know, my thing is, I don't like to sit by myself unless I'm high. I don't like to sit with myself, sit with my emotions, like for journaling for me, I have to journal to release, to get things out, to feel what I'm feeling.
Okay.
I don't like doing it unless I'm high. I don't like to, like, I'm fine with being by myself, right? But if I'm sitting in complete silence, meditation, I'm like, I gotta smoke something. Like, and I've been like, I've been kind of like tapping into that, like, what is that? Like, why can't I sit with myself without a substance?
Right.
Because that is, in a way, distracting myself from myself.
Yep. You're so
like,
yo, I consider myself the Hempo Kage. I really enjoy and have had a long, almost lifetime love affair with cannabis. So yeah, I'm first thing in the morning smoking, you know, midday. So, but yeah, it is crazy the thought of like, can I sit with myself? I don't know. I've had moments where it's like, bro, should you detox? You smoke all the time. Like, should you just take a moment and see what it's like being sober? And then I'm like, yeah, we'll see, you know. And I might go a day or so. Then I end up going back smoking. But I know, for me, it becomes not so much not being able to sit with myself. It's just easier for me. I feel like the things that are in my head come out with such a blunt force that if I'm smoking, it's a softer blow. Or I'm not trying to say I'm self-medicating, but it's kind of one of those things where like, I find myself anxious and annoyed by things that inside I'm like, bro, just let it go.
Yeah.
And it's easier to let it go when I've smoked a little bit. So it's like, whatever, you know. So, I mean, maybe I'm avoiding things, possibly, but I just feel like, you know, as a father, grandfather, and a husband, it's smarter to pick your battles and not be annoyed by every damn thing that's happening. So,
exactly.
You know, but that's a crazy thought, though, sitting with yourself.
So you said something that kind of made me spark a thought. So, because I 100% agree. I know exactly what you're saying. Like, if anybody told me, oh, you're numbing yourself, you're self-medicating, you're trying to, you know, ignore what's going on. I'm like, no, that's not what I'm doing, because I actually intentionally smoke to go deeper within myself.
Ooh.
To feel my emotions more. It's just when I smoke, it eases it a little bit. Okay. It's like I'm taking... It's actually
it eases the journey in a sense?
Yeah,
okay.
It eases it. So, for example, if I'm feeling emotions, if I'm pissed off, I'm angry, right? We've got anger right here, so I'm going to get into these cards. If I'm pissed off, I'm angry. I'm like, oh, somebody's got me fucked up, like da-da-da-da. Or really, a projection of anger is really anger towards self. We really want to get into it. So I'm pissed off, I'm like, you know, you got me fucked up, or you're doing this, or this. And then I start reflecting, and I'm like, okay, you know, really, I'm angry at myself, and da-da-da-da. So, as an Aries, that anger is up here. I'm getting toward rage.
Right.
The heat is rising, the fire is rising. So when I smoke, it just brings it down a little bit to enough to where I can be present with it and actually learn and not be drowned out by the anger.
Gotcha.
So it's like I don't know, it numbs it takes it down a little bit.
It's a
to where like I'm not so much yelling, but I'm just like, okay, so maybe the lesson is like, oh, I'm angry because I want attention from the outside world, but nobody's giving it to me. So when I don't smoke, that's how I'm saying it. In my head, I'm like, I'm angry because nobody's giving me attention. Da, 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 da. I smoke, I'm like, I'm angry because nobody's giving me attention. And
smoke changes the tone.
It does. It changes the frequency. And that's exactly what I'm about to get into. So I want to break these cards down first, and then we're going to get into that, right?
Okay.
So we have on these cards anger, trust, death, oppression. If you look at these, you would think, oh, damn, like, that's the energy right now. Like, okay, so what we're talking about, anything of lack on the external world is just a reflection of the inside. Okay. So anytime we feel anger and we're projecting anger onto somebody, that person is just triggering a part of us that we are angry towards ourselves at, and we haven't faced it. Okay. That person is just a reflection of self, and we're projecting. Say we're pissed off at somebody, once again, like I said, we're pissed off at somebody, you're not giving me enough attention.
Right.
I'm angry because you're not giving me enough attention. That's what your spirit is saying to you. I'm pissed off at you because you're not giving me enough attention. Why do you keep doing this every day? Why do you wake up and you don't even talk to me?
Right.
You don't talk to me. You're looking at everybody else. So inside you're angry, but you're projecting that anger onto somebody else because that person has shown you yourself. Right?
Yeah.
So let's say trust. You have a lack of trust for somebody on the outside world. You're like, oh, I don't trust you. You do this. You're sneaky. You know, I can't trust what you're saying. Look inside. Do you trust yourself? Do you stick with the things that you say? You know, if you said, I'm waking up, you know, I'm going to do this for myself, this, and this, and you promised yourself, and you turn around and you didn't do it, trust is broken from the inside, and now you're experiencing that in the external world.
So now you're going to project it.
Yes, and if you're lying to yourself, another thing, you're experiencing somebody lying to you on the outside world. You're pissed off. I'm pissed off you lied to me. You didn't have to lie to me.
Right.
Okay. How are you lying to yourself? Are you lying to yourself about what you really feel? Are you waking up in the morning using false positivity and spiritual bypassing? And are you saying, I'm happy today. Today is a good day. Today I'm happy. Nothing's hurting me. Are you lying to yourself? Because if you're suppressing your emotions, you're lying to yourself.
Right. But how do you... See, I'm already like, well, how do you deal with that head on? Because, I mean, who wants to start off with some shit at the start of their day?
I mean, yeah, but we also have to be real with ourselves.
Right.
You're not going to move past anything by not being truthful about how you really feel about it.
That's word.
You know?
That's word.
And that's why that person on the external outside is lying to you, because they don't want to deal with the truth. They don't want to deal with the heaviness of the truth. They don't want to deal with the consequences of the truth. So they lie to you. So that's what we do to ourselves.
Right.
We lie to ourselves because we don't want to deal with the heaviness of what the truth really is. We don't want to feel our truth.
Right.
Because it might be painful.
Right.
So we lie to ourselves.
Man.
So then we're pissed off somebody's doing it on the outside. Reflection, look in. Boom, death. Death on the outside is literally just a death of self.
Okay.
On the inside. If you have people or a person who has died on the outside. And you know, my best friend, I'm sure she would not mind me sharing this story. My best friend, Tosh, she was on here a few episodes ago. Last year, we went through a time where her father figure passed on. He transitioned. And that was a time in both of our lives, because I've known her father since I was in kindergarten.
Oh,
you know?
So that's a loss for you too.
Definitely, for sure. So both that time in both of our lives, we were going through a transition of healing our masculine energy. Healing and letting go of like wounded masculine traits.
Okay.
And so in her reality, unfortunately, you know, life sometimes is brutal. Sometimes life is so like spot on that it's brutal.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, like my dad had to die, but also I've been letting go and releasing and letting parts of my old masculine self and things that wounds that, you know, were passed down from him to me, I've been letting those go within myself. So in the outside world, there's death. There's transition. Yeah. And then, so it's like, I think what these cards are saying, and oppression, same thing. Lack of money on the outside is just lack of self-care. It's just lack of, you can't multiply anything, you can't manifest on the outside if you are not pouring inside of self first. Because we all have feminine, masculine energy.
Okay.
If you're not pouring into your own feminine, which is your emotions and your body, earth and water.
Okay.
If you're not doing self-care, then you literally cannot multiply anything.
Because 0 times 0 is 0.
Exactly.
So how do you do, I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you off.
Oh, you're good.
What does self-care look like? I mean, because this is my fear with that is, there's a lot of things that say take care of yourself, right? And my concern is like, does that mean I'm going out and buying what I want, or when there's a decision that needs to be made, am I thinking about myself first and how it affects me? Because as a family man, as a husband and a father and a grandfather, it's like, well shit, if I make a decision